I, 29F, am moving in with my BF of 3 years, 33 meters, and my fundamentalist mom, 65F, is furious. My mom and I have always had a very close relationship. She tells me everything. I am her only daughter. Her confidant since I was a small child. Telling me everything from financial troubles to have issues with my dad, brothers, etc. Her pride has always been that I have always been very mature for my age. Being able to cook, clean, take care of my brother with ASD, being homeschooled, being active in my church, etc. So much so that people have always mistaken me for being 10 plus years older than I was since I was 13, 14 or so. Please keep in mind I grew up in the fundamentalist world. Think Duggars, IBLP, Bill Gothard, Quiverful, etc. Tay vibe is ultra-conservative. Long skirts and hair. No TV and only select music. Homeschooling. Tons of kids and such. I have 6 brothers. For example, all homeschooled K-12. I have always been extremely good at towing the line between being compliant and being a silent rebel. Always did and said the right thing so as to not be in trouble and have privileges restricted, but always questioning everything and pushing boundaries as far as I could. I went to college, got my AAS, work in healthcare. I moved out by myself. Huge upset. And am financially independent. Lived on my own for years. And am fully self-sufficient. I have slowly distanced myself from my fundamentalist background. I have lost almost all the friends I had growing up, as we were friends by necessity, not really choice in most cases. We have rather just grown apart, or it is because I left and they stayed. Even leaving my church, I just slowly phased out, giving up responsibilities in college due to being busy and slowly showing up less and less. Again, I am an excellent, quiet rebel. I met my BF right before COVID hit. We get along great. He is calm where I am anxious. Absolutely hilarious and makes me feel like I am home whenever I'm with him. I can honestly say he is the love of my life. My mom had never liked him. Feels like he doesn't have his priorities straight. He is successful in his career and also fully self-sufficient. Because he likes sports too much. Doesn't like his friends, who she has never met. She just picks apart any story I tell her to find an issue with them. They have been super kind and welcoming to me. She just doesn't like him, but is never really able to give me a solid reason. My dad and my brothers-in-laws love him. I told them we were moving in together in a few months. My dad told me he would prefer if we got married first, but that it was ultimately my choice. My mom lost it, storming out of the house and then storming back in to tell me to get out. So I left and have heard nothing for days. She texted me this AM saying we need to meet so we can talk before I make the biggest mistake of my life. Honestly, I'm so emotionally exhausted. I'm tired, sad and numb. I fluctuate between trying to not cry and panic to just staring off and shutting down and trying to think of nothing at all. I know I'm too old for this. I know I should be far past these growing pains and that I should just move on and cut her off. But I can't. Who is she going to have if I am gone? Her life is so hard with my brother having medical issues, and I have always been there to help. Amongst other things. I'm her support and feel so selfish. I do not want to talk to her but know I have to. What the hell am I supposed to say? What would you say? I'm not going to touch on the religious or moral aspects of this because I'm sure others will do so. I want to emphasize the fact that your mother relying on you as her sole confidant from such a young age is absolutely 100% inappropriate. Your mother forced you into a position that no child should ever have to be in. The result is this overwhelming guilt as you try to establish normal boundaries. You may not have had a choice when you were young and being her support system, but you have a choice now. Please make the choice to reset this dysfunctional relationship with your mother and choose to be healthy instead. Who is she going to have if you're gone? Your mother has a husband and 6 other children. She is also a grown woman who is responsible for managing her own emotions. I get that that is obviously not her strong suit, since she parentified you and inappropriately used you as an emotional spouse since you were a child. But that is not your problem. Now that you are an adult, you can, and should, refuse to discuss this topic with her. Mom, I have made my decision and won't be discussing this with you. She gets upset? Leave or hang up the phone. Mom, we can visit another time when you've had a chance to calm down. Be proud of yourself and don't let her drag you down. If the younger generations don't take the reins on their own beliefs, then there will forever be a cycle of unwarranted and crazy, in my opinion, religious boundaries set on each new generation. Do you want your own family to grow up with that madness? Many people who leave the church have to abandon family. That's just the reality. She's made her choice. She is choosing the religion over you. You don't need to support her. She can easily have your support if she accepted the fact that you aren't as religious. You can't change that. You'll have to let it go and forge a new path for your own life and family. I do not want to talk to her, but no, I have to. I know you feel like you do, but you actually don't. You are a self-sufficient adult. You survived a childhood of emotional abuse at the hands of a religious zealot. But you beat the odds and have apparently turned out to be okay. You can just say, Mom, I love you, but I'm an adult and this is my choice. Your religious beliefs do not dictate how I live my life. I hope you can understand. But if not, we don't have anything further to discuss about the topic. I was raised in a strict fundamentalist type home with very emotionally immature parents. It would be a really good thing for you to read 2 books. Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents Here. Codependent No More Here. You do not have a healthy relationship with your mother. Your religious upbringing is its own kind of abuse, but your mother's reliance on you is truly something that needs to be healed. You may be learning today for the first time that the way she leaned on you was wrong and deeply inappropriate for a child. There is a lot of good information out there about this. It may be easiest and safest to start with a good therapist who specializes in parentification of a child. Move in with your boyfriend. Don't get married anytime soon. Get some space from your parents and learn who you really are and what you really want from your life. You've got the rest of your life to figure it all out. Make sure you are being true to yourself and what you know to be right for you. Who is she going to have if I am gone? Your father. 6 brothers. Or I guess 5, since the one has health issues. Her church. Her friends. I'm her support. Okay, well, things change. People move in and out of our lives by dying, moving, having kids, becoming busy with work, etc. She's an adult. She'll be okay. You're also looking at this as black and white. Either you succumb to her desires or you cut her off. But you can also just dial back the relationship. Stop telling her so much about your life. Set boundaries and stick to them. Gather some resources in the form of books, therapy, ex-fundee support groups, whatever. Also, any no contact period does not have to be permanent. Maybe you go no contact for now because you just need a break to lean on the aforementioned resources. Maybe you go low contact for now and decide later to cut her off because she's unable to adapt to your boundaries. She says you need to have a big conversation about this. But you can just not. She texted saying you need to talk. You can just text back and say, no, we don't need to talk. I'm an adult and have made my decision. I hope you can respect it. I love you. Hi. I can offer some perspective as I also come from an extremely fundamentalist religious family. My wife and I are Orthodox Jews. My family is Chassidish. Ultimately, you will have to live by your own moral compass and do what you believe is right. It is a great sadness that your parents are not in a place to support you. But I earnestly believe, having been in a similar situation, that this is due to their own upbringing and context. Just as yours is central to you, theirs is central to them. I would really suggest some therapy in this case to voice your frustrations and talk this out. Especially considering your brother's medical situation. It is a very difficult situation. Wishing you the best of luck. Happy to dialogue with you about this further should you wish. Yeah, the whole first paragraph screams emotional incest. You have to break free from her. You're not responsible for her emotional well-being. It's time to live your own life before you waste more years on being her puppet. She may love you. You may love her. But this is just not healthy. Your mom conditioned and forced you to believe you are close and friends. Relying on your child for emotional support is abuse. You have distanced yourself from all the things from your past that aren't healthy, except one. You can't control her actions. But you can control your own. That's how boundaries work. You let people know what your actions will be moving forward. If I were you, I'd tell my mom I love her and love talking to her. But the subject of me living with my BF is off the table. If she brings it up, end the conversation. If she insults your boyfriend, tell her that you don't want to hear it and end the conversation. It's her choice whether she wants to continue a relationship with you. Her pride has always been that I have always been very mature for my age. Being able to cook, clean, take care of my brother with ASD, being homeschooled, being active in my church, etc. So much so that people have always mistaken me for being 10 plus years older than I was since I was 13, 14 or so. So she parentified you. I went to college, got my AAS, work in healthcare. I moved out by myself. Huge upset. Makes sense. Not according to her plan. She texted me this AM saying we need to meet so we can talk before I make the biggest mistake of my life. You don't have to go. Your dad seems sensible. Maybe he can settle her down. You should never have been her confidant as a child. That's what friends, spouses, and therapists are for. Not children. Mom, there's nothing to talk about. I've made my decision. If anyone here is making a mistake, it's you thinking that you can have a say in how I live my life. This is what is happening. You can either get on board or you can sulk by yourself. It doesn't sound like you're making a mistake. It does sound like she's going to regret not having her daughter around. This reminds me of when two female roommates live together for years and become inseparable. And then one of them moves in with a boyfriend, leaving the other roommate devastated. I would follow your dad's advice. In fact, I would even tell him you need him to try and stay as neutral as possible and give you practical, logical advice. He gave his preference, but also accepts that you're an adult. Might be worth having a one-on-one conversation with him about your family dynamics. This sounds incredibly like my upbringing. Though I only had one other sibling and they were my mom's support person. But we were raised very fundamental Christian with the long hair and skirts. Homeschooling. Only listened to hymns. All our church friends had huge families, etc. My sister was happy with it all. But I realized it was not for me and began somewhat towing the line as well. My mom's reactions were extreme. I was going to hell. I was such a disrespectful and awful daughter. So I retreated into myself. I kept up the perfect daughter charade through college, since they did help with some things like cell phone and food. But things changed drastically once I graduated. When she'd try to dictate what I could or couldn't do or lectured me, I'd just be silent and not talk to her for a few days. Edit to note: I wasn't exactly giving her the silent treatment. I lived in my own and would simply say I was busy, hang up, and not call her back for a few days when she'd be ranting about the clothes or makeup I was wearing, etc. I will admit that the 23 years after I graduated college were a bit rough between us. She was angry that she couldn't control me anymore and that I completely ignored her manipulation tactics that worked so well on others. I was resentful about how she'd treated me for years, and was happy for some distance. After some years, our relationship started repairing. She hinted at apologizing and has accepted that I am not the person she wanted me to be, but that she loves me. I have accepted that we'll never see eye to eye on some major topics, religion, politics, but that I love her anyway. Today, we are very close. We avoid topics that we know we're miles apart on, but happily chat about everything else. We needed that distance in our relationship for a bit to heal and decide to forgive. I know you love your mom dearly, and it sounds like you're happy, proud to have been her confidant and so mature. Sadly, it was also very unhealthy. Learning to cook, clean, and keep house early is whatever. But she absolutely should not have been confiding in you about issues with your dad or financial troubles. That was horribly unfair to you and your poor dad. I think a bit of space between you could help both of you grow into having a more healthy relationship. She needs to be relying on her relationship with your father and maybe ladies in the church. Regarding stress over your brother, my advice: give it some time. Don't talk to her right now. Obviously your BF is a good guy. You're definitely not making the biggest mistake of your life. Your mom is irrational with anger right now, so talking won't do anything but cause wounds. You need to continue to unwind and live your own life, happy with your great BF. Being a sneaky, silent rebel is exhausting and stressful, and dealing with your mom's irrational blow-ups is exhausting and stressful. You deserve to enjoy your life without that. I think, if you can create some space, set some boundaries, and insist on your mom treating you with respect, you have a real chance at eventually having a good relationship with your mom without having to hide who you are. You love your mom very much. If your mom loves you, she should realize that you being happy and healthy is what's important and not her control over you or getting to show everyone how perfect, according to her religion and peers, her daughter is. For what it's worth, I was never brave enough to tell my family that my BF and I had moved in together until we got married. I'm pretty sure they figured it out, but we all pretended otherwise. Kudos to you for that step, and I'm happy for you that your dad responded respectfully and gracefully. Message me if you like. I was homeschooled until I was 15. Also raised very religious tradcath with demon warfare. A deeply mentally ill sibling who I cared for. All of that. I also caused furor when I moved out. My mom found a Christian widow who said I could move into her basement. And when I didn't do that, it caused a fight. Control over my purity was very important in my household, and it sounds like it was for you too. All that I can say is that you can't have these conversations. Having them is validating to that parent, because it makes them think they're in a negotiation. It's painful. I was 26, living abroad, with an advanced degree and a career, before I finally said we aren't talking about my sex life ever again. And that was so difficult. I cried and cried. And I was so tempted to try and assure them that I wasn't having sex that weekend. I was just taking a trip with friends. But to do that is to feed the monster. Your sex life is your own business and you have the right to privacy. You don't need to answer questions about it. And that is the first step to breaking the spell and the idea that you owe anyone an explanation. I say this in the nicest way possible. The biggest mistake of your life, or one of, would be marrying someone before seeing what living with them is like. You, Briar 26, I think you allow your mother to control your life from afar. And that needs to stop right this second. Do not live your life halfway just to make her happy. Prioritize you and your partner's happiness first and foremost. You're nearing 30 and have a good life built. Don't allow her to destroy that. I think your mom is mostly upset because she groomed you to be her carbon copy to eventually dump your brother on. And that can't happen if you are married with a family in the way. So she manipulates you to get her way. That also needs to stop. You need a therapist to help you build your backbone and use it often as you fully live your life. You need to join R, Raised by Narcissists, and R, Raised by Borderlines to help learn about your situation and things you can do to help break your deep enmeshment. Your mom has not treated you properly for your entire life. Children should not be the main confidant for a parent. That emotional dependence wasn't healthy for either of you. Decline the meeting. Move in with your BF and enjoy. Your mom is being childish and needs to grow up. Move in with your boyfriend and put this nonsense behind you. Your mom, fundamentalism have oppressed you for 30 years. Time to move on. Tell her that it's your decision and you weren't asking for approval or permission. And then move on. And next time don't tell her about decisions that you know she will disapprove of until after they've happened.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.